Welcome back to Landshark's Garage. I want to thank everybody that subscribed over the last month or so. Keep on growing the channel. We really appreciate that. In this episode, we're going to deal with few things that make it a little difficult to get the 3+3 in and out of the garage. First one is the old big block spark plug wire meltdown. Seems to happen with all these big blocks, so I got a little different set of spark plug wires. I got some ceramic boots on them. I'm trying to address a exhaust leak, but I'm not sure if that's what it is or if it was just the fact that these wires were so brittle and busted up that we had spark jumping. So I'm going to tackle that first. I need to put a battery box in here. If you've seen some of the other videos, you saw the haphazard one I had just for moving it around. So I went ahead and mocked up a battery box that it's going to bolt in from the front and from the back, and I'll probably put a battery tray on that similar to this, so I can tie my battery down in the right spot. I'm going to put some new wires on it while I'm in the middle of that and get this thing so it can drive in and out of the garage. I picked up a Chevy Tahoe for a daily driver that needs a motor, the 5.3 LS motor. The motor that's in it just has a knock. It still runs and stuff, so I picked up a motor for that. That's what I'm going to use to go back and forth to work and do stuff this winter. So this is going to have to go out for a little while we put that 5.3 in the 02 Tahoe, and we might even do an episode of that. I don't know, that might involve a lot of cussing and swearing. I haven't tackled anything LS wise. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this all down, get everything, make sure everything I mocked up is going to work, and we'll keep moving from there. There's Jake, always willing to help. I guess there's probably a fly underneath there someplace that's bothering him. Yep. This battery box that I got, I feel it's for a square body, but it didn't fit this application the way I thought it was going to, so I had to do some modifying. I moved the hole over on here. The only thing left of the old battery tray was the ledge that it sat on here. If you look down the side here, I had to cut some holes in it, allow me access so I can put my fenders back on. And then I took a piece that I cut out, flipped it over so I could put a bolt in from the back and hold this on. A battery box is something you don't ever take out again. I could have easily welded it in, but this just seemed like a better way to go. I still got access to my headlights. You can see down there I've got to build a tray here for my wheel well to bolt into. That's for at another time though. The main goal this weekend is to try and get this thing back up and running so that we can move it around if we need to, which isn't too big of a deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this all down, and then we'll mock that tray up on it. First part with these GoPros and two dogs in the garage is they always seem to find a spot to hit where the camera's sitting and knock your stuff out. Kind of nice having them in the garage to bounce ideas off of, kind of like Mortsky and his Duff dog. You know, Duff don't ever agree with what Mortsky's doing, but he's always there for him. See, congratulations to Mortsky Repair, hit 50,000 subscribers this week. That's a pretty big milestone him and Pudding Fabrication did. It's one thing that YouTube people don't know, guys that watch YouTube, is how important it is to have subscribers and likes and shares on your content so that you can continue doing it. And, hitting 50,000 subscribers, that's a big deal. So congratulations to Tom Mortsky up at Mortsky Repair, mostly to Duff though. That's the reason he hit 50,000. It isn't his ugly mug. But I got that in there. Gonna be pretty solid once you get the fender back on. Pick this tray up. I'll probably, it's a little longer, I'm probably going to modify it by cutting it down. I'm more interested in the hold downs for the battery than anything, and I'll be able to just attach it to this tray, but I'll be able to put J-hooks in to hold the battery down while it sits in there. This takes a Group 24 battery, top post battery, and well, I think it originally came with a side post by the looks of the terminals that they got on there, but I'm going to stick with the top post. A lot easier for jump starting. Could put a dual post in. Don't have a battery sponsor, so that's no problem. But I'll go ahead and cut this down and attach this to my tray so that I have something to tie my batteries down to. I think if I cut that right along where that lip is, that'll sit down in there nice. Shouldn't be too difficult. Remember the advantage I said of having a black marker and a silver Sharpie. That way you've always got something that will mark on what you're working on. Across here. Pick it off right there on both ends. He says with the Sharpie cap in his mouth. Figure while I'm changing the plug wires, I might as well throw some new plugs at this too. Just haven't really done anything mechanically on the engine. Started up, ran so good when we bought it that we've just been driving it that way while we're repairing it. We haven't put a lot of miles on it, but these 3/4 tons ride really nice, especially with the long box. And after I saw how them plug wires, how brittle they were, I decided that I'm going to try that before I tackle anything in this manifold. To, you know, if it's a gasket, I can't see that it's a cracked manifold, so I'm thinking it's one of the 2 gaskets. But I always want to make sure that it's not an electrical thing that I'm dealing with too. That would be more than likely when if I have to deal with the manifold itself. You're gonna break bolts, because that's just the name of the game with these old motors, and getting at them bolts to take them out once they're broken is kind of a pain in the ass. So if this takes care of that exhaust leak noise that I'm getting, great. If it doesn't, I'll tackle it while I don't have a fender on it, so I can get my fat butt in here and work on it and take care of some things. I did take the plate off that was around the manifold, thinking that maybe I had a crack underneath it, but I don't see anything visibly that would tell me that. So we'll do the electrical stuff first and then deal with that when we get back there. And sometimes when you're making content for your YouTube channel, you think your camera's on and it's not. Got the battery box all finished. Bolted that tray in that we talked about. I cut about 3/4 of an inch off each side so it fit in there nice. I'm gonna have to put some rubber over these 2 bolts just so the battery doesn't sit and rub against it. Got my hold downs on there. I shot some paint on it, made it look all pretty. Did not have the camera running while I was doing all that. So instead of a few minutes time, we'll just go over and look at what we got going on, and then we're going to hit the spark plug wires and spark plugs on the old big block 454 cubic inch GM power plant. So here we are back at it. Kept the old positive cable, put red tape on it because it was black, and that kind of drives me nuts, but that cable is good all the way down, so I just put a different end on it. Got the negative cable on. We're gonna tackle these spark plug wires and spark plugs right now. Beautiful day out downtown South Dakota. Usually when I'm working on a small block, big block Chevy, I always check to make sure before I take plug wires off that the plug wires are correct on there. This one that points to the #1 cylinder, 1357 2468, #1. Usually small block Chevy HEI distributor will if that rotor was off and it was on number 1, it would be pointed that, but this is a number 1 wire. Want to check and make sure on that, because sometimes when people are having issues putting distributors in and out and blah 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 blah, they'll jump all them around and get it to run right, and everything's just one cog off. And when you take it apart and put it back together and set it up the way it should be set up, it doesn't run right. Ask me how I know this, because I know it from experience. Had a distributor one time where all the spark plug wires were one post off because it ran, and then they never changed it back and set the distributor. That's the way we got it. We had to take it apart, put some plug wires in it, and had issues with it. So I always check to make sure number 1 goes to number 1. I've already pulled this side wires out. All the ends have pulled off. Basically, just, it's a big block thing. It's a whole tray full of spark plug ends. So I get set up and change these out. Nothing real exciting. It's a lot easier to do it here. These are the wires that I got that are made for big blocks. They're a ceramic end on it. You can hear them when they tap together, and they hold up better. They hold up a lot better to that heat from the manifolds and from that 454. And you know, you might ask why you see all these channels where people are working on stuff and in their garages and getting it going, because you know, driving down the interstate is kind of boring, and then you're cruising along and all you're seeing are Buicks and Priuses, and then a big old bitch like this comes driving by you pulling a 80 Camaro on a trailer, and you're like, ah, it's cool. That's why we do these channels. We're on a run right now to get to our 1,000 subscriber section. We got 500 to go. We're halfway there, but 1,000 subscribers is a big number in YouTube. That's where you start getting into the algorithm and making your videos and your channel starts appearing more and more. So we're on a push to get to 1,000. Besides that, Mrs. Landshark told me if we get to 1,000 we can buy stickers, folks. So let's like and subscribe to the channel. I'll get set up and get these plug wires banged out. Won't be a big deal. And this is probably one of the only will it run videos that you'll get out of Landshark Garage, is whether it's going to run after I worked on it or not. So we'll start it up afterwards and see if that exhaust leak over there got taken care of. I bet it didn't. Hopefully it was electrical, but I'm betting it was a straight up exhaust leak that we'll have to deal with. Huh. That battery tray makes a nice tripod holder also. Like I said before, all the spark plug wires we took apart, which don't really look like they're that old, but look, they get hard and brittle and just fall apart, and that's really a big block thing that you have to deal with. So we're gonna whip the spark plugs out. This is probably my favorite spark plug socket. It's already mounted on an extension. It swivels a little bit. It's a KD 3928. You can buy it at most parts trays. KD 3928. I got it on a little Carlisle 100 tooth 3/8 ratchet that I love too. So pull the spark plug wires off already. I'll get them spark plugs out, get them replaced, put in the old 45 TS's, the standard GM small block, big block spark plug. You know, firing order, small block and big block, exactly the same on a GM. 18436572. Them plugs have been in there a while. I'm gonna have to put a chaser in there. Get that out of there. See. Yeah, good decision replacing the spark plugs that are in here now. Auto lights, you can't put 4 spark plugs in a Chevrolet. What's going on? Nobody does that. I wonder what it'll take to get that air conditioner working. Kind of nice to cruise down the old road with the inner air conditioner blowing. Wow. These tight. I don't think I've ever broken off a... Oh man, that is not good. Another one. I got this extra long spark plug socket. You know, if you've ever had to change spark plugs in an S10 with a V8 in it, you learn some ingenious tools are out there for taking out spark plugs. This one I'm running with a 3/4 inch gear wrench, just so I can get a little better feel for it as it comes out, because it's tight in there. Get the old ACs gapped for perfection. 35 thousandths we're going to go with. Should always check the gap on spark plugs. You never know if the boxes got dropped in shipping or something along that line. Very rarely do plugs come pre-gapped. Usually if they do, they've got like a little plastic sleeve around them so that it protects them. And you know what they say about spark plugs, you only drop it twice. Once on the floor and once in the garbage can. Because if you're trying to chase down a miss and it turns out to be a spark plug that you dropped and cracked, it really makes you aggravated. Ask me how I know. Painted orange so it's easier to find. Still takes 10 minutes, but I have a tendency to rearrange my toolbox a lot, and Mrs. Landshark hates it because I never remember where I put stuff when I rearrange it. I'm sure I did it for something good, so 35 thousandths, put the pick in there, good to go. Good. Oh, so there's one that we got to tweak a little bit. There we go. Make sure they're right. Make sure they're lined up and centered on it too. Sometimes they get off to the side. You never know anymore. Alright, that side's done. Roll over there where I'll remember it. I've got a spark plug thread chaser. I'm going to try and run through some of them holes just because they were pretty tight. I always like to start spark plugs by hand. Sometimes I put never sees on them, but sometimes I don't. Oh yeah, there's a pile of crud in there. Dandy. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Blow everything into the cylinder. Well, it doesn't really. What it does, it just burns off. Come on. It's usually the hardest to reach one that you have the most problem with. It's blue fuel light. Got light on top of it. Best thing ever. Oh, I see what it is. There's a bolt on the manifold that has an oversized washer on it. That'd have been fun without a fender on here. With the fender on, I mean. So I had to get past that washer with the socket. I thought there was an obstruction in the hole, but there wasn't. Same problem over here with rust that I'm gonna have to fix there, but so looking at how they pulled off of this ends of the spark plug wires. Every one of them did that, and that, like I said, that's a big block thing. We'll get this project buttoned up. We'll be able to get the old Camaro in here. Still got the S10 drag truck for sale. Not in a big rush to lose money on it, so if it doesn't sell, I'll keep it. Trying to get these ends off of the spark plugs. There we go. And we've decided to go with the small block Chevy on the Camaro. Probably a 400. Got that sitting right over here. Just kind of hanging out. Taking up space. Thinking about what it's going to do with its life in the future. Got another small block sitting down here. That one needs to be gone through. That 400's a runner. Just need to change oil pan gasket on it. Got the wrong oil pan gasket on it. It leaked like a sieve. So we'll do that with the Camaro. But one project at a time. If this has to winter in here so we can finish it, that's what we're going to do. And then we'll bring the Camaro in. I guess my ears don't work very well anymore. I thought the exhaust problem was on the passenger side, and looky there. Looks like we need a driver's side manifold. Busted all the way through. Well, this one will be a little easier to take out than the one on the other side, that's for sure. But that's where my noise is coming from. Maybe I should just JB weld it. Tell me what you think about that. They make a product now that you can put on exhaust manifolds for... I don't think I'll hold that one together. That crack looks like it goes all the way through that sumbitch. I can't hardly wait to tackle that. Yep, let's finish the plugs. When I start changing the spark plug wires, I'll do them one at a time, just because I like to make sure I got the right length on. Many times as I've done this, I still don't get it right. Look at that. Scotch locks and wire nuts. I don't have to go through all of that crap. Scotch locks and wire nuts. What in the hell? If you want to deal with electrical problems down the road, just put a Scotch lock on it. And if we want to use wire nuts, wire a house. Not a house of horsepower. These ones came out nice, so I'm not really worried about chasing the threads on them. I don't honestly know if I've ever taken one of these rings off. Now that I'm playing with it, doesn't feel like something I've done before. Don't know that it's going to go back on there, actually. Look prettier on the Camaro. The purpose of it must be so you can pull all the plug wires in one shot and then just drop them back on. Yes, that's pretty good thinking. Way better idea than the wire nuts. Here's number one. Here we go. So take what's left of that. Another one pet peeves. See that blue terminal stuck in there for the power wire? They make a specific terminal for that for a reason. But that, you see that so much. It's alright, we'll fix that when it comes down to it. $1977. 3+3 with a 454. Plugs, wires. I don't think I'll replace the cap and rotor. Got to do a little work on that battery hold down, battery box. That's a little wiggly on me. I'll dress up my wires a little bit. Gonna replace some vacuum lines. You know what? Thanks for following along today. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe at our channel. And as always, never forget, drive your shit.